My husband's weekend fishing trip didn't add up, so I tracked his location. What I found shocked me: he was at a beachside resort. Furious, I booked a room at the same hotel. When I walked into the restaurant, I spotted him laughing with another woman. I stood behind him and whispered, "Enjoying your trip, love?" He turned around and nearly fell out of his chair. What I did next left the whole resort speechless. I never thought I'd be writing something like this. I always saw these kinds of stories and thought, that sucks, but it could never be me. I was wrong. My name's Sarah. I'm 38, and I've been married to Mark for 12 years. We have 2 kids, 8 and 10. We live in Orlando, Florida. Life hasn't always been perfect, but I thought we were solid. I thought we had the kind of marriage that could ride through the tough times. Mark's always been into fishing. It's been his thing since we were dating. He'd go on weekend trips maybe once or twice a month, usually somewhere near the St. John's River or Lake Tahoe. It gave him a break from work, from stress, whatever. I never had a problem with it, until this last trip. About 3 weeks ago, he said he was heading out again. Usual story. Packing up his gear, cooler, tackle box. But something was off. I can't even explain it clearly. Just little things. He was distant for days leading up to it. Kept checking his phone and turning it away. Got jumpy if I asked too many questions. When I asked which lake he was headed to, he mumbled same spot as last time and walked off. I let it go. At least, I tried to. That Saturday morning, I got up with the kids and saw that Mark had already left before dawn. Typical. But then, something stupid happened that changed everything. I needed to check something on our shared tablet, an old iPad we both use sometimes. When I opened it up, his email was still logged in. I wasn't snooping, I swear. At least, not at first. But the first email at the top was a reservation confirmation from the Breakers Palm Beach. Not a lake. Not a fishing cabin. A luxury beachfront resort. My heart dropped into my stomach. I stared at that email for a full minute before it even registered. I opened it. Room for 2. Ocean View Suite. Check-in, that same morning. I could barely breathe. I thought maybe I was misunderstanding. Maybe there was a work thing? A gift for someone? A weird coincidence? But then I remembered the weird behavior. The lies. My gut screamed no. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened Find My iPhone. We'd set it up years ago for emergencies. He never turned off sharing. His location was live, and it pinged exactly where the email said, The Breakers. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there. Then I stood up, walked into my room, and started packing a small bag. I called my sister, told her it was urgent, and dropped the kids off. I didn't even tell her why. I got in my car and drove 3 hours to Palm Beach. The entire drive, I felt like I was outside of my own body. I was numb. Not thinking about what I'd say. Not thinking about what I'd see. Just driving. I got to the hotel late afternoon. Beautiful place. Fancy. I looked like I didn't belong. I used a fake smile to check in, then went up to my room. I sat on the bed, phone in hand, watching his dot on the map. It didn't move for over an hour. Eventually, the dot moved into the hotel's restaurant. I waited about 10 minutes. Then I stood up, fixed my face in the mirror, and walked downstairs. I walked into the restaurant slowly. It took me a second to adjust to the dim lighting. Then I saw him. Mark. My husband. The man I shared a bed with for over a decade. Laughing. Laughing with a woman across from him. They were leaning in close. His hand brushed hers. They looked like they were on a date. Not just a fling. A real date. The woman? She was younger than me. Maybe early 30s. Long dark hair. Tan. Wearing a dress I wouldn't even look twice at in a store because I know it's not for moms like me. I felt like the ground tilted. My ears were ringing. But I walked toward them anyway. Slow, steady. I stopped behind him. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Then I leaned down and whispered, "Enjoying your trip, love?" He jumped so hard he nearly knocked over his wine glass. His face went white. The woman looked confused, then uncomfortable. "Sarah," he croaked. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just stood there and looked at him. "Fishing trip, huh?" I said. The whole restaurant went quiet. People stopped eating. The waiter who'd been heading toward their table backed up slowly. All eyes were on us. Mark started to speak, but I cut him off. I raised a hand like I was dismissing him. I wasn't ready to hear his voice. I wasn't ready to let the rage pour out. Not yet. I looked at the woman. "I'm his wife," I said calmly. Her mouth fell open. She looked like she wanted to disappear. And then I walked away. Not because I was weak. But because if I stayed one more second, I was going to explode. I didn't go back to my room right away. I walked out to the beach, still shaking. I stood there in my sandals, staring at the ocean, trying to remember how to breathe. I had questions. So many. Who was she? How long? Was this the first time? Did he take her to other places we'd been to? Did he use our money for this? I still don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't told the kids. I haven't confronted him beyond those few words. I don't know if I want a divorce yet. I don't know if I'm ready to destroy everything. But I know one thing, that man is not the person I married. And I'm not the same woman I was when I drove down here. I stayed on that beach until it was nearly dark. My hands were trembling. My mind was spinning. Part of me wanted to march back into that restaurant and flip their table over. The other part just wanted to curl into the sand and disappear. I finally went back to my room. The resort was quiet as the sun dipped low. I walked past the pool area and saw Mark sitting alone. No woman in sight. He saw me. Stood up fast. "Sarah, please." I didn't stop walking. Just gave him a dead stare and kept going. I locked myself in my room and sat on the floor. I didn't want to cry, but I did. Not loud sobbing, just quiet, painful crying, the kind that sits deep in your chest. Around 10 p.m., there was a knock at my door. I knew it was him. I ignored it. 5 minutes later, another knock. I stayed silent. Then my phone buzzed. "Mark, I need to explain. Please. It's not what you think." I didn't reply. Because honestly, it was exactly what I thought. The next morning, I decided I needed to know more before I made any decisions. I wanted facts. So I did something a little crazy. I checked out of the hotel and booked a room at a smaller place just down the road. I wasn't ready to go home, but I didn't want him to know where I was anymore. I also didn't want him thinking I was just sitting around crying. That night, I went back to the resort, but not to talk to him. I sat in the hotel bar, corner seat, wearing a baseball cap and hoodie. Yes, I was spying. I had to. I needed to see what he'd do when he thought I was gone. At 7:48 p.m., he walked into the same restaurant. And she was with him again. This time, she was holding his hand when they walked in. I took a video from my phone. Nothing fancy. Just enough to show the date stamp, the setting, and them, together. My stomach turned. I wanted to throw up. He hadn't even waited 24 hours to be with her again. I left before dessert. Back at my motel room, I was staring at the ceiling when I got a text from an unknown number. "Hi. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk. About Mark." I sat up so fast I got dizzy. I replied, "Who is this?" A second later, "My name's Alyssa. I'm the woman from the restaurant. Please don't block me." I didn't know he was married. My chest tightened. "Why are you messaging me?" "Because he lied to me too. He told me you were his ex. That you were obsessed with him and couldn't let go. That you were stalking him." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then the messages kept coming. He said he was divorced. We've been seeing each other for 5 months. He never mentioned kids. I didn't know anything until last night. I couldn't sleep. I found your social media through his tagged photos. I'm so sorry. My hands were shaking again. I asked for proof. She sent screenshots. Texts. Selfies. A photo of them at a wine tasting event that happened the same weekend I was in the ER with our youngest who had a stomach bug. The twist? One of the selfies was taken in our bedroom. I recognized the bedsheets. The dresser. Even the lamp on the nightstand. She was lying on my side of the bed. I didn't even respond to her. I threw the phone on the bed and sat on the floor, completely frozen. He didn't just cheat. He brought her into my home. He brought her into the space where my kids sleep down the hall. Where I folded his laundry. Where I made dinner. Where we had family movie nights. And he did all that, while telling me he was just stressed from work. I haven't spoken to him yet. He's been texting nonstop since yesterday. Please talk to me. It's not what it looks like. Let's fix this. I love you. And my personal favorite, you're overreacting. Overreacting? I feel like I'm in someone else's life. I feel like I'm watching this happen to a stranger. But it's all real. And now, I have no idea what my next move is. I could go back home, pretend like nothing happened, pretend I didn't see what I saw. But I can't unsee it. I could confront him, scream, throw things, demand the truth. But what would that change? I could call a lawyer. But am I ready for that step? And there's something else. Alyssa? She told me something else in her last message. I think I might be pregnant. I haven't replied. I don't even know how to process that. I'm writing this because I need people who've been through something similar. I need advice. I need support. I feel completely alone. I haven't told my sister. I haven't told my best friend. I don't want to be the woman who stayed, or the woman who blew up her whole life over something that might still be fixed. But I also don't want to be a fool. This isn't over. Not even close that night, I barely slept. I stared at the ceiling fan spinning above the bed, running through everything again. The texts. The hotel. The woman. The picture in my bedroom. Her message, I think I might be pregnant. Around 4 a.m., I finally messaged her back. Are you sure? She replied instantly. Not yet. I missed my period. I took a test but I'm getting blood work tomorrow. I just thought you deserved to know. Deserved to know. Imagine finding out your husband might have a baby with someone else through a random text message. Someone who didn't even know she was the other woman until you showed up. I didn't go back to sleep. I just sat there in silence until the sun came up. By 9 a.m., Mark was calling. Again. I finally picked up. He sounded surprised. Sarah, thank God. Please, just let me explain. I kept my voice flat. Go ahead. He stammered. It wasn't serious. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I was stupid. She meant nothing. It was just. I don't know. I made a mistake. A mistake? I said quietly. You brought her into our home, Mark. You lied to both of us. And now she might be pregnant. Silence. How do you know about that? He asked, voice shaky. Because she told me. Long pause. I swear I didn't know, he said finally. She never said anything. I haven't even seen her since that night. I left the restaurant after you walked away. I didn't say anything. Then came the next twist. I was going to tell you. I swear. I had ended it. I came on this trip to figure out how to fix things. I didn't invite her. She just showed up. I laughed. A bitter, broken laugh. So she just magically appeared at the same resort, same restaurant, holding your hand, because, fate? She followed me, he said. I didn't believe him. Not fully. But part of me wondered, was she really that naive? Or was this more twisted than I thought? He kept going. Sarah, please. Don't throw everything away. We've built a life. We've got the kids. Don't do this over one stupid mistake. That word again. Mistake. I hung up. A few hours later, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't pick up, but they left a voicemail. It was a woman's voice. Not Alyssa. Hi, this might be really weird, but I saw your number on a post. I don't know how to say this, but I think I've been seeing your husband too. I froze. I played it again. Same voice. Still shaky. Still nervous. I met him through work. He told me he was separated. Said he was living alone and co-parenting. I didn't know what to do. I looked him up. Found your Facebook. Saw your post. I'm sorry. I just thought you should know. Another woman. I texted Alyssa. How did you two meet? She replied right away. Bumble. I stared at the screen. Then went and downloaded Bumble. Took me less than 10 minutes to find a profile that looked suspiciously like Mark. Fake name. Different photos. But same smile. Same eyes. His face was there, smiling into a beer mug, with the bio, recently divorced dad. Looking for connection, not drama. I wanted to scream. This wasn't an affair. This was a whole other life. How many other women? How many weekends had he gone fishing? How long had he been doing this? Everything started to blur together. The late nights at work. The sudden gym habit. The new cologne. The way he'd pick fights before trips so I wouldn't text him. It wasn't just cheating. It was planned. Organized. Deceptive. I called my sister. Broke down. Told her everything. She showed up 2 hours later with an overnight bag and a bottle of wine. Held me while I cried. Told me I didn't have to make any decisions right away. I'll help you burn his stuff if it comes to that, she said, dead serious. Later that night, I got a text from Alyssa. He's calling me nonstop. I blocked him. But, if he's doing this to both of us, he'll do it again. Maybe you should talk to the other girl. The other girl. The one who left the voicemail. So I did. I called her. Her name was Beth. She was 41. Had a daughter. Said she met Mark 6 months ago. I swear I had no idea. He was charming, sweet, thoughtful. I even introduced him to my kid. I couldn't breathe. He met her kid? She sent me photos. Them at a beach park in Melbourne. Them at a bowling alley. She didn't know about me. Or Alyssa. Until she saw a post I had made, something vague on Facebook about betrayal. She clicked on my profile. Realized who I was. Realized who he really was. I'm so sorry, she said. I didn't know who else to call. That night, I called Mark again. This time, I didn't let him talk. I know about Beth, I said. He went quiet. And I know about Bumble. And the fake names. And the messages. And how long this has been going on. He tried to deny it. I read him the exact bio. Quoted his profile word for word. Silence. Then he whispered, "Please don't leave me." I didn't answer. Because I didn't know if I would. I didn't know anything anymore. It took me another 3 days before I agreed to see him. We met in a public park halfway between the resort and home. Neutral ground. I picked a spot near the lake. Quiet. Open. No escape for either of us. Mark pulled up in his SUV like he was arriving for a casual coffee date. He even smiled, like that would change anything. I didn't smile back. He sat down on the bench next to me, close, but I scooted over. His shoulders slumped. That hit him harder than I thought it would. "Sarah," he started, voice soft. "I messed up." "I know." But, I cut him off. "You didn't mess up. You built this. You created a second life. You lied to me. You lied to our kids. You cheated on me with at least 2 women. And God knows how many others." "I was lonely," he said quickly. "You stopped seeing me." I blinked. "I stopped seeing you? You mean after I gave birth? After I managed our house, raised our kids, covered for your late nights? You stopped being fun, Sarah." There it was. Raw. Ugly. Honest. And it cut me deeper than any knife could. "You mean I stopped being available for your ego?" I snapped. "You mean I stopped pretending everything was okay when you disappeared for days? You mean I was exhausted from doing it all while you were out being the fun divorced dad on Bumble?" He didn't speak. I kept going. "Alyssa might be pregnant. Beth introduced you to her kid. You used my sheets. You told people I was your ex. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught." "I don't want to lose my family," he whispered. "You already did." That shut him up. I don't know what I expected. Tears? Rage? Groveling? He just sat there, staring at the ground, like a child caught stealing. Then he looked up and said the last thing I expected. "There's more." My stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" "There's another woman," he said, eyes darting around like someone might overhear. "Just one more. From work. Her name's Paige. I ended it months ago. She threatened to tell you, so I paid her off." I felt the blood drain from my face. "You paid someone off?" "I was scared," he said quickly. "I didn't want you to know. I didn't want to lose what we had." I stood up. And slapped him. Not hard. Not enough to hurt. Just enough to remind him I was real. That this wasn't a fantasy. That the woman standing in front of him wasn't some prop in the background of his little double life. He didn't say anything. People nearby looked over. A few stared. One woman walking her dog muttered, "Good for her," under her breath. I walked away. I didn't look back. He tried to call. Text. Apologize. Justify. Blame. I blocked him on everything. I called a lawyer. Got the paperwork started. He moved out. Went to stay with his brother. Told the kids it was just for a while. I didn't tell them everything. They're too young. But I told them Daddy made some bad choices, and now Mommy needs space to think. Alyssa texted me again, she wasn't pregnant. It was a false alarm. Relief and disappointment crashed together. I thanked her for being honest. She said she was going to therapy. Beth? She blocked him too. Said her daughter cried for days. Said she felt like a fool. We still message now and then. It's weird, finding sisterhood in betrayal. It's been 4 months. The divorce is nearly final. I'm not going to pretend I'm okay. Some days I wake up and wonder if I overreacted. If I should have tried harder. If maybe I wasn't fun anymore. But then I remember the hotel. The lies. The sheets. The dating apps. The fact that he paid off someone to keep his secret. And I realize I wasn't overreacting. I was underreacting for years. The truth is, I ignored the red flags. I let myself believe he was just tired. Just stressed. Just a little distant. But love shouldn't require that much gaslighting. Love shouldn't leave you second-guessing yourself every single day. These days, I go to therapy. I started jogging. I signed up for a pottery class. My sister still checks in every day. And the kids? They're okay. They ask questions, and I answer gently. As for Mark? He's alone. Or maybe not. Maybe he's already found his next connection. But he lost me. And now? I'm not hopeful yet. I'm not happy yet. But I'm awake. I see clearly now. And that's a start.